Hello then viewers to just a random vlog really. It's an uncomfortably muggy and oh, there goes my NCT sir. Yeah, that's at least it's got one. Yeah, I must get the colder thing that I've got up there behind the camera has only got 2 sections in it, strangely, so I'm having to double up at the minute. And I don't want to get rid of it because it's the original dealer tax holder, so it's got the original logo. I mean, it's absolutely knackered, but I really don't want to get rid of it because it's quite a nice feature. So in fact, if anybody out there knows of companies that do custom tax disc holders, can you let me know, because I'd love to get that one remade. But yeah, anyway, that's yeah, so you join me on a very muggy and a very warm early September day. It's uncomfortably hot out there actually. It's probably only about 22-23 degrees, but the humidity is really making it sticky and quite uncomfortable. And in a basic 90s family hatchback with a black dashboard and no air conditioning, it can be quite uncomfortable in here. So that's why I got the window open, so I hope the car coming. Hope the audio isn't too dreadful. I have to shout a little. Tractor. I have to shout a little bit. And I must also apologise for the shaky nature of the footage. I bought a new camera mount for about £3 in Home Bargains up in Newry up the north, so it's nice and cheap. But it's not great. So the image stabilisation in that iPhone on the video is having to work overtime. We have to start paying it more because it's shaking like hell. But hopefully it'll be okay. We're going through a little town here anyway, it's a little village, so the road, I have to drive at slower speeds, hopefully it's okay. But yeah, just come on this video really just to give you a lowdown on the fleet and what's happening really. So yeah, I mean the Peugeot is driving absolutely fantastically. It's got its NCT, as I will never not show off about. Taxed as well until the end of this month, so we're all good road legal. My original plan of things was to put this thing into storage over winter, but it's not easy to find, it's quite expensive, so yeah, I might just keep it running really. Don't plan on driving it when we've got wet or cold weather in winter, so I'll probably never be able to drive it because of course that's all you get in winter, isn't it? Wet and cold weather. But yeah, I don't want to be subjecting this thing to salty roads because it's had a little bit of that in its life, and look how that rear quarter worked out with the advanced corrosion issues, which thankfully are now fixed with the help of filler, yeah. And it still leaks when it rains as well. If you drive it in the rain, it still leaks. So yeah, we don't want to do that because that will lead to further corrosion issues. So yeah, thankfully this it's driving absolutely fine. I had to do a few bits to it recently, gearbox oil renewal, and the video of which will be up in the next few days on the channel. I've got an awful habit of shooting a video and then leaving it weeks before I actually process it, get it edited and pop it up on the channel, so that's going to be coming up soon. That was quite an interesting job with the amount of fluid that came out of it, which wasn't a lot, but I'll leave that for the video. Just a bit of it. So that's good. I do need to give this thing a service. It hasn't been serviced in my ownership since February, and I mean I've no service history before that. I should have done it really. I've just been a bit lazy about it, but it's still driving fine. I'm not doing huge miles on it anyway, so it's just taken over nicely. Obviously going to do plugs, filters, oil filter, air filters, plugs, and the oil. So yeah, it needs that doing. It does need that doing ASAP. We'll get the belts done on it as well at some stage, but that would be, you know, a more expensive job, so I'll leave that for a little while. The belts look okay, but again, I have no idea when they were last changed, so I'm playing timing belt roulette with this thing, but calculated game of it because they look okay. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, she's driving absolutely fine, and I did buy some spares for it. That door card over there is a bit knackered. The little storage bin down the bottom here is falling off and just looks a little bit ragged in places. It's kind of coming off the door as well. It's not really attached properly on that side. So I've got a spare one. It's sitting in the boot. But I hate doing interior trim. I hate doing door cards in particular. I've had bad history with them over the last couple of years with different cars and horrible fiddly things. I really hate doing them, so I probably should do it, but there's no guarantee I actually will, to be honest. The radio is not working, and the problem with this radio is the sun's gone into, the temperature's gone down a little bit. I'll just pop the fan on, a bit of cool air. The problem with this radio is that it did work absolutely fine when I first got the car, and then I've had to disconnect the battery a couple of times for various reasons, and it did lock me out of it, and then I've got the code in the manual and I managed to get back in and it was playing fine. But for some reason it's just packed up, it's not working at all. The liquid crystal display, the LCD, that's never worked on it since I bought it back in February anyway, so I don't know what station I'm on. Stuck behind the bus. Oh, that's kicking out some lovely black smoke. Yeah, lovely stuff. 2012 plate, Bus Eireann. Get your acting gear, people. Come on, do better. That's just disgusting. Why haven't we got an electric bus on this route? Or something cleaner than that? Horrible. Anyway, so I don't know what station I'm on, which means then that I also, for some reason, can't seem to unlock it again. I've tried loads of buttons, I've pressed them all. Don't know. So when I got the spare door card and the bits off the car that was being broken down in County Carlow, about 2 hours away, I asked for the radio, which they've supplied me with, which was great. It's an upgrade on that stereo, but of course, what did I forget to do? Ask for the code for it, so that's not going to be any use, I don't think. I haven't even tried plumbing it in because I don't think it's going to work, which is very frustrating. Now, like, I mean, I've been reading things online, people have been saying, oh, you know, it could be a, what the hell is that? One of those fancy Hyundai Ioniq jobbies. People have been saying, oh, it could be a fuse, and apparently there's a fuse at the back of the stereo as well. When you pull it out, it's sitting in the back. But if it was a fuse, it wouldn't be working at all. And I know it works because I can see the LCD lights up. I just can't see what's written on it. So that's annoying. So the radio's out of action. I did have to disconnect. You see, I think it's only the rear speakers that ever worked since I bought the car, I think. And I had to disconnect the rear speakers to pull all the trim out of the parcel shelf at the back to fix the corrosion issue. And I don't think it's worked since around then, so maybe it's an issue with the connection at the back of the car. Maybe it is that parcel shelf connection thingy. It's not working. I honestly don't know. I really don't know. So yeah, there are issues with this car, but thankfully, why are we slowing down? Brakes work as well, thank God. Let's have another bus through. One thing that is really frustrating me about this Peugeot, and has done ever since I bought it, is the clutch. Now, I had the Volvo V40, which was an automatic, so I was only driving this every now and again. This was the only manual I had on the fleet. The Clio was a manual as well, but I mean, I hardly drove that because the indicators didn't work. So since getting rid of the V40 and getting the Astra, which I will talk about shortly, I've noticed how horrible this clutch is. I hadn't noticed it at all, actually. My friend John drove this and commented on how terrible the clutch was, and I was like, what are you on about? The clutch is fine, because I wasn't used to driving anything else with a clutch at the time. But since getting the Astra, which is a lovely, silky, soft, nice, velvety clutch, I've gotten back into this, started driving it again, and noticed that actually the clutch on this is horrible. Finding the biting point is quite difficult because it's a juddery clutch. I'm not sure I'm explaining it particularly well. When you release the clutch pedal, it doesn't come up smoothly, it comes up in stages, and it's quite juddery when you're trying to pull away. It doesn't really cause that much of an issue when you're driving normally, but of course if you're in town traffic or at traffic lights or in traffic, it's a pain in the backside to try and navigate. And I mean, I've stalled it loads of times. So yeah, that's frustrating really. What can you do? I was chatting to the mechanic when I brought it in to get the wheel bearing done for the NTT, and he said not really you can do about that. You can pop a new clutch in and it'd be exactly the same. So I think it's just one of the little quirks of this car that I'm going to have to live with. But no, look, in all fairness, I've had it, what have I had it now? What are we now? I bought it in February and it's now September, so I've had it for 7 months and I've really enjoyed it. It's never let me down, touch wood, it will now, of course, I've said that. Cracking little car, I really like it. So this one's going to be staying for the foreseeable future. Unless, of course, something else comes up, and you never know what can come up on Dundee or on Facebook Marketplace. This would be an ideal car to swap or part exchange, potentially. So, you know, unless something really special comes up, then I'm going to keep hold of it. But one golden rule with all of my cars is that they are always for sale. All of my cars, well, the two I've got, are always for sale, a pair of them, because you never know what might come up and what else I might fancy. So I've owned cars and a week or 2, 3 weeks later I thought, no, I don't like it, I want that instead, and got rid and bought them. So I'm in a constant state of flux really with a fleet. Can you call a 2-car collection a fleet? Can you? Don't know. So anyway, on to the Opel Disastra. I love it. It's a great little car. It's fantastic. Bought that late July and we're now early September, and it's doing the job of being everyday transport utterly perfectly. It hasn't let me down. It's comfortable, reasonably peppy, so you can drive it on the motorway. It's got a 1.4, so it'll sit at 70 all day, every day. Does drink a bit more fuel sitting at 70, but you know, to be expected, I suppose, isn't it? We've got a horrible bump coming up here now, so better prepare for it. That wasn't too bad, was it? That was okay. These lovely seats, it's got fantastic ride quality, the Peugeot, and these seats are incredibly comfortable. But anyway, back to the Astra. The NCT, the Irish MOT, is out in about 2 weeks' time on the 15th. Are we the 6th today? Not even, a flipping 9 days' time away. So I'm going to have to book that in and get it sorted. NCT waiting list times are still quite long. I looked at a date for the station here in Drogheda, about 10 minutes from where I live, in County Louth here in Ireland, and it was March next year. Now you can still drive a car without an NCT. It's not strictly legal, I don't think, but you know, it's kind of let slide because, I mean, it's not my fault, and I've had this discussion many a times. I've said it on many of my videos. It's not my fault or the general public, the car driver's fault, the motorist's fault that the App Plus, the people who run the NCT service, it's not our fault that they binned all of their loyal and hard-working staff during COVID because they wanted to save a bit of money, and then have faced recruitment issues. Surprise, bloody prize, when lockdown was lifted. So it's not my fault that they've messed up. Not our fault, the motorist's fault at all, is it? So I think that's kind of understood with insurance companies and with the authorities that if you've got a date booked, then you are okay to drive. So yeah, I better get it booked in. I'll do that as we come up to the date. We're about a week away, so I'll do that a little bit close to the time. And if I get it in sooner, all well and good. It's going to need 2 new front tyres and the steering adjusted. What do you call it? The tracking. It's going to need the tracking doing, because it does pull to the left a bit when you're driving it, but that will all get sorted in due time. And I don't know what else it'll need. It'll probably need other stuff doing. I mean, it's a 23-year-old car with about 96,000 miles on it, so it's going to need some other bits doing as well to it, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Oh, these roads are dreadful. Absolutely awful. But yeah, the Disastra is proving to be wonderful, and it's very, very comfy as well. It's amazing. The Astra is a 2000 plate. This is a 1996. So there's only 4 years in it, and it feels like there could be 20 years between it, because the two cars feel entirely different to drive. But to be honest, I was thinking about that point the other day, and really, I mean, this Peugeot isn't really a mid-90s design, is it? It's a late 80s design, because of course it came in to replace the 309, which it did in 1993, so they would have spent a couple of years developing it and getting it all sorted. So it's really a late 80s, very early 90s design, this thing, whereas of course the Astra was a 1998 release, so that's more of a mid-90s design, and it's absolutely, they're completely worlds apart, these two cars, with the way they feel. I love the Peugeot because it's, you know, back to basics, it's quick, it's nippy, I love the styling, it's very comfortable, it's frugal, it's fantastic for what it is. But of course I love the Astra for all of those reasons, and the fact that it's just a wonderfully reliable car. They both feel completely different to drive, even though they both satisfy pretty much the same market segment. They both do the same thing, but they're completely different cars. It's amazing the difference between the two of them. So yeah, look, I mean, the Astra's going to stay on the fleet as well for, as long as, well, for the foreseeable future. That is the car, as was the Micra last year, that's designed to get me through. There's no need to beep, is there? That's a lovely Peugeot 607 there, actually. They are 607s, those ones, aren't they? 06 Kildare reg. Yeah, flipping hell, they're rare. Wow, lovely. I haven't got a dash cam set up on this. I should do, because I keep seeing loads of fantastic old cars. But yeah, this is the Astra's the car that's going to get me through the winter, as the little K11 Micra did last year. Wonderfully. So that's the idea with this one. We're going to rally it through winter, put minimum money into it, keep it obviously roadworthy, the Astra, but it's not going to break any banks. I won't allow it to. So that's the idea. And then when we come to February, March next year, and it starts to dry up and warm up, we'll see where we go from there with it. But as I've said previously, you just never quite know with the cars that I own. Maybe something even nicer, something maybe rare, or something I really like will come up. And I kind of say to myself, I'd love to own another Rover or an MG, something like a ZR or a Rover 25 or a 45, something like that. So they're really rare over here because they are a bit rubbish and a bit unreliable. But if one of those come up, then I'd really, really fancy it. So, we'll see. That's kind of one of the cars that I think if one came up, I'd have to buy it. One that was, road legal and with a bit of NCT on it and stuff. There's no point in replacing a car with an NCT with a car that hasn't got one, so that'd be silly. But yeah, that's probably one of the golden rule cars. If one becomes available at a decent price that's road legal, I probably have to buy it. But yeah, I've no other plans to expand the fleet to 3 at the moment anyway. Financial situation and just general life busyness. You can only drive one car at a time, can't you? So, and I mean, I've nowhere to put them either. If I had a big barn or a bit of land or a yard or something, I just chuck them in there and forget about them and not really care. But I haven't got that, so that's life. But yeah, that's sort of my little ramble done with, I suppose. My little vlog. So there will be more 306 action coming up soon on the channel later on this week, and there will also be more Astra stuff coming up. I've got a big clean video for that, which is waiting to be edited down. There will be a big clean video coming from this. I haven't bothered cleaning it much since I bought it, so this one has to be wet and dry vac at the very least, and give it a nice bit of spit and shine to get it looking a lot better. But anyway, yeah, that's my ramble finished. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel for more car content coming up, and thanks for watching.